All right, we're going to go ahead and just give a few minutes for everybody to hop on since it's just now 6 o'clock. And in a minute or two, we will go ahead and get started. Hi, Christian. Hi, Michael. Welcome, guys. We're going to give a couple minutes for everybody to start hopping on here since it's just 6 o'clock. If you guys want to post in the Q&A what kind of business you have, I'd love to hear where you're from and what business you have or are interested in opening. Christian and Michael, I'd love to hear what kind of business you folks have. If you want to post that in the Q&A so that I can learn a little bit more about you. And we'll just give it a couple more minutes. All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you all for joining us. Again, my name is Christine Chaloupka. I am a business consultant here in Key West, Florida. I work with the SBDC at FIU. And tonight we will be talking all about loss within your retail stores or your business and how we can combat that, especially going into fourth quarter. So first, a little bit about myself, really, and my background. I am retail girl through and through. I've had my own boutiques for about the past decade or so. And before that, I worked in the wholesale side of retail. So when it comes to retail, product-based businesses, marketing, social media, that is where my strength and my experiences as a business owner. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the more exciting types of business to have because no day is ever the same. And tonight I'll be bringing that retail background as well as a degree in criminal justice to tonight's topic of preventing loss within your stores. A little bit more about the SBDC in general. For those of you that may not already be working with SBDC consultants, we have offices all across the country, and we work with retailers just like yourself who might already be starting up a business or might already be in business, looking to grow. No matter what phase of the business you're at, we have resources for you as a business owner and getting you through all of those hard and easy points of business ownership. And that would be everything from startup assistance, access to capital, financial management, walking you through your P&Ls, even international trade and development, marketing and growth strategies. That's an area that I personally love to talk about, really getting into the nitty-gritty of social media and truly promoting your business in an all-encompassing way. And then, of course, we also assist with knowledge on government contracting. We can help you in your startup phases as well when it comes to the info and like your data and market research, maybe when you're putting together a business plan or just getting started there. And then, of course, we have lots of trainings and workshops like we do tonight. As you'll see here, we have about 1,000 offices nationwide, 40 of which are in Florida. And you'll see here on the map, these are kind of our different regions. So for those of you on tonight that are in that South Florida region, we cover Miami and the Keys. So I can work with clients from Miami on down south. And it looks like we have a Q&A. It says, my mouse isn't working. Oh, currently in creating a process of an online drop shipping store. Awesome. Thank you, Michael, for letting me know. You guys, throughout tonight's webinar, please use the Q&A to communicate with me if you have any questions or information that you want to share. I'd love to hear what kind of businesses you have or any questions you have when it comes to retail and loss prevention. So awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. And just before we get started, I do want to have a little disclaimer that everything we're talking about tonight is really just knowledge that I have through my own experience, trends that I've seen on this topic over the years. I don't give legal advice. So anything I say is just kind of based off of my own experience. And I always say to, for sure, consult your attorney or any other professionals in the field before you make any big business decisions. So again, guys, my name is Christine Chaloupka, and tonight we're going to talk all about preventing loss in order to maximize gain so that you have your strategies for success in your retail business. So we have a lot to cover tonight in a pretty short period of time, so you're going to feel a little bit windblown by the time we get done. But right here is kind of an overview of really all of the different types of loss. And of course, we are going to talk about just straight up customer theft when people are taking things off of your shelves. But I've always found like there's always a few other categories or topics really that fall into that category of loss where essentially places where that money is trickling out of your business. So that might be your inventory management needing improvement. Maybe we don't always have the right products and the right amount of products at the right time. It could be our employee theft. None of us really like to think about that because we feel like we have this team that we've hired and fostered, and we have this great team atmosphere, and we don't want to think that they might be taking items from the store or taking money out of the cash drawer. We will, of course, talk at length about good old-fashioned customer theft. Also within this topic of loss, I find that when it comes to salesmanship and that customer experience, if we aren't getting every last dollar out of every last customer and providing that customer with that perfect purchase shopping experience, that's another place that we're essentially having loss in our business. And then finally, we'll talk about the loss of the physical money. So the cash drawer not balancing in some cases, or even additionally to that, maybe we're running too many promotions. Our margins are, which is eating away at our margins. We're not making as much money on our sales. It's all of that little stuff that we don't really think about that goes into losing money and money going out the door, product going out the door, and kind of this whole topic of loss. So we're not really just going to be talking about theft tonight in that sense of the word. So first of all, I want to talk about inventory management. When you have a retail business or a product-based business, if you are selling products or inventory of any kind, your inventory management is your number one most important thing. That's why I wanted to talk about it first tonight, because it is our job as the business owner to know down to the penny exactly how many items we have in our store. We always talk about annual inventory, right? As soon as we get through the holidays, we have inventory come up in January. You kind of don't really want to do it. You hope that you counted right. You're not really sure. No, this is the most important thing. Close your store for a couple days, count all of that inventory, and make sure you know down to the penny what you have. So when people struggle with this area of inventory management when it comes to loss, it's in a multitude of different things. So number one, not utilizing that point of sale machine to its full potential. You're paying for it monthly, probably on a subscription. You probably have one of these iPad programs. There's all kinds of reporting that we can do. So not utilizing that to its full potential, number one way that you have money going out the door. Also not having enough inventory, or on the other side of that, having too much inventory. So both right there can affect your bottom line and potentially not having as many sales as you possibly could. From there, aging and stale inventory we're going to talk about. And finally, we want to make sure that we have a nice flow of goods along with sourcing our products. So those are kind of the four areas that when it comes to inventory management, it's really easy to see that if you're not on top of those, money is probably trickling out from your bank account. And we work hard for every dollar that comes in. So we want to make sure that we're not losing any of it to something silly. So what can we do? When it comes to that point of sale machine, I love running regular reports. You'll probably hear me say run reports about a million times in tonight's presentation, because honestly, I think that poring over them and getting excited in a way, you have to kind of trick your brain to get excited about an Excel file, but running those reports and knowing exactly what's going on with potentially a new product line that you've brought in, or something that maybe you've carried for years and you think it's your bestseller, but maybe it isn't. So we want to be able to run those regular reports. And in order to do that, we need to be sure that we're setting up those products in our point of sale machine accurately and in a very detailed fashion. So I put an example here on how my favorite way is to do it, which is here at the beginning. So 424cc fish platter TRQ. So let's break that down. The 424 at the beginning would stand for April of 24. That would be the month and the year that that product either arrived into inventory, the month and year that you put it out on the store floor. You can kind of choose what works best for you there. But we want to give it a date so then you can quickly look at that item and say, oh, I knew that came in April. Better get it out of here, or better give it a little more time to see how it sells. The CC is a brand abbreviation. So whatever that product brand is, Mud Pie would be MP, so on and so forth. Fish platter, of course, is the description of that item. And TRQ is a color abbreviation for turquoise. So right here, the 424cc tells you almost everything you need to know. Exactly when it hit your inventory and what brand it is. And then from there you go fish platter turquoise, and you know exactly what item it is. And I found this particularly handy in my own brick and mortar stores, because I could just go around, quickly look at a price tag and see exactly how long that item has been in my store. But then most importantly, when I would run regular Excel file reports on my inventory, I could break it down, organize it by when those products came in, and I could see very clearly maybe there was a certain shipment or a certain brand that wasn't doing well. Time to move on, get your money back, put it into a better seller, right? That's the whole point about knowing about our inventory, is that we don't want to have this sitting around. We don't want to let our products have birthdays in our store. We don't want it sitting in our back room or on our store shelves to the point where it's been there a whole year and it's having a birthday. Okay, we got to get it in and out. And if it's not working, I'd much rather see you clearance it out, get your money back for it, and then put those dollars into one of your top selling items. Because it's not necessarily thinking of loss in the traditional way, but if you have money that's just, it's like, imagine taking $400 and just setting it on a shelf and not touching it for an entire year. I'd much rather have you clearance out the products, get that $400 back. Conversely, put it into your number one selling product that you know you'll blow out of fourth quarter, and then you've made your money over and back and doubled it just like that, instead of having it sit there having a birthday on the shelf. Also, when it comes to managing our inventory, speaking of our shelves, we want to make sure we are keeping them stocked, full, plentiful. If you do find yourself in a time of low inventory, I know here in Florida, in our off season in the summer, we let it get a little light. We want to make sure we're coming back and re-merchandising our store, breathing some life back into it so that we are completely re-merchandising those shelves when we're a little bit lower, to make things look a little more plentiful, adding props, adding displays, doing what we can to make what we have look special, instead of just letting it sit there and look half sold out, right? Which is really what we are. So we have to get creative and zhuzh it back up. Also, when it comes to your inventory and planning for your on season, your off season, new product releases, we need to be planning these orders in advance. So personally, when I would go to market, I would do what I called the binder method. You probably have organized yourself in a similar way, but when it comes to all of your orders, you can't just be having them in a folder or trying to keep it in your head or taking pictures on your phone. We are all creatives. Business owners are very creative people. We have special brains. We probably have ADHD of some sort. And though we can kind of remember everything, it's not down to the penny. We're seeing like the big picture and the more creative, right? So we need to give ourselves some organization. So I like to take just a standard 3-ring binder and put in dividers for every month of the whole year. And then I split it up by my season. So for me, in my boutiques, I would just have a spring, summer, and then a fall, winter season. But if you're doing more of product sales yourself, like if you're wholesaling and you need to keep track of your orders coming in, it might be better for you just to organize it by the season or by the quarter or by the month. And when you have these dividers in there, then you would put all of your order copies in a plastic sleeve and file it between those dividers so that you know that if you want to get a nice visual on what's going on for, let's say at this point, well, here we are, we're in fourth quarter, so we want to be thinking forward to spring, right? We can just easily flip to that binder, see a nice layout of, okay, I've got 3 orders coming in January, 12 in February, 30 in March, as season is ramping up, and then they go back down, and then you can really get an idea of where am I missing product? Where don't I have enough? Is it going to be flowing in properly? Especially when we live in Florida and have such a seasonality. We want to take advantage of every customer that's coming through our door, and we want to make sure that we have that inventory on hand so that when they're showing up and they're ready to sell and they want to buy something, it's there. Or same way, if you're in wholesale and you're selling a product, we don't want to be out of stock of our best sellers. We really don't want to be out of stock at all. So planning that flow of goods so that you have the most output of money in your high season and you curtail it a little bit in the low season, that's going to just give you that nice flow to make sure you always have what you need and that you're never losing or having loss of money by not being able to make that transaction, make that sale. And then finally, when it comes to our inventory, along the lines of getting rid of the old stuff, because we now plan to have all the good new stuff coming in. If you find yourself in a position where you're maybe sitting on some older inventory and we got to move it, maybe it's a lot of little stuff. I love, and kind of like my best secret, is creating mystery bags. I actually did this in my own store, and it got to the point where the mystery bags were so popular that I had to start buying product specifically for the mystery bags because we were just constantly selling out of mystery bags. And what I started off doing was putting about 3 to 5 items in a bag and completely sealing it up just with mystery bag labeled on it. And really it was just so that I could be guaranteed to make back what I spent on those products and I could get 5 items out the door at one time, right? Like that's great. We don't want people just picking up one perfume that's half off. You made no money. You probably lost money and out they go. No, if they're going to be getting a sale item, let's make them get 5 and have fun. And it's a mystery bag, right? So they became so popular that then I started having to buy this inventory. Well, then I could start strategically buying the inventory. And before you know it, I'm profiting on the mystery bags. So it's just kind of one of those weird phenomenons that it starts out as a way to kind of get rid of inventory, but before you know it, it's super fun and it's exciting for your customers. And it's just kind of taking something boring like stale inventory that half the time people don't even look at the sale racks and turning it into something fun, which is a mystery bag that they're buying 2, 3, and 4 of because they love all the little trinkets that are inside. So really getting creative with your inventory and also at the same time organize with your inventory so that you know exactly what is going on. So that's kind of a quick overview on everything when it comes to the inventory management, making sure you are tight, right, organized, and on top of everything, especially going into fourth quarter. But then for us in Florida, really that Q1, January, February, March, like that's like our second Christmas, right? So we want to make sure that we are on top of all of that going into the new year. Okay, our second type of theft, employee theft. This is the one that's not really fun to talk about because most of the time we love our employees. They're like family. We selected them, we interviewed them, we felt like they'd be great for the team and we've brought them on. But then you find that probably, unfortunately, someone is stealing. So where are these kind of areas of difficulty when it comes to employee theft? That's your standard theft of money out of the cash drawer or even a safe in the back. Theft of goods, them taking the actual product out of your business. And then I've also put in this category transaction accuracy, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second here. So what can we work on with our employees to cut back on this theft? First of all, thorough screening and hiring practices. I'm very big on preparing for your interviews and making sure you are organized and asking very strategic, specific questions when you sit down with somebody to get to know them and bring them onto your team. That's also something that we can work on, whether you want to work with me as a consultant or any consultant at the SBDC, we can help you through these hiring practices. We can help you with what your job listing on Indeed is going to say, or even practice some role play going into your interviews. Because it can be nerve-wracking on both sides, right? The person you're interviewing is definitely scared. And then if you're maybe new to business ownership, you've never interviewed somebody. So we're here to kind of make that whole thing more fun, calm, a little bit easier on you, okay? So once we've kind of gone through this thorough hiring process and we feel really good about this person, we want to make sure that in your business, whether it's a store, a warehouse, coffee shop, any type of business, I don't care what kind of business you have. If you have employees, you need to have very clear policies and procedures. And this could be very simple. One that's my favorite is that cash drawer is getting counted multiple times a day. If you have a midday shift change, that drawer is going to get counted in the morning when you open for the day. It's going to get counted midday by both the employee that's leaving their shift and the employee that's coming on to finish the evening, so that everybody is in agreement of exactly how much money is in the drawer. And then we're also counting that drawer at the very end of the day. Something as simple as that drastically cut back on employee theft. I don't think my drawer in my own store was ever off by maybe more than a few cents, which was just due to poor change being made, which relates back to just kind of that training, policy, and procedure. But they all knew that you weren't going to get any money out that door without management knowing, because we were counting that drawer at so many points across the day. Also, along that same line is if you are on top of your inventory and always working with your employees, showing them that you are doing physical counts, spot checks, keeping your eye on things, they know right there that they can't just get an item out without anybody noticing. Also implementing inventory controls. So keeping an eye, which is really kind of what we're just talking about, but keeping an eye on your inventory, keeping an eye on your employees. If you have massive amounts of inventory, makes it too easy for one or two small items to disappear with no one really being able to tell. And then finally, we want to be sure that we are monitoring those point of sale transactions. So whether you have a camera face down on your employees right at that point of sale area, which I think is very important, not only for employee theft, but also for customer theft. You'd be shocked at the amount of theft that occurs right at the cash wrap when the employee and the customer are 2 feet away from each other on the other side of the counter. So I always like to have a camera right there. But this is also you as the owner being sure to go back in each day, check through the transactions, keep an eye on that cash drawer, make sure that everything looks on the up and up, make sure that discounts aren't being given on items that are not supposed to be discounted. Is everything being rung up correctly? Spot checking that inventory and just kind of keeping an eye on those transactions that happen on your cash register or within your accounting system, or however you're processing your transactions, to make sure that they are accurate. From there, we kind of move on to talking about your traditional loss, probably what you came to this webinar expecting to hear about, which is that customer theft. So this is a big topic, so we're going to have a couple slides on it, but customer theft is just that. It's theft of physical items from your store. It really hurts the first time it happens. It's hard to forget, and it kind of lights a fire within you to want to combat this going forward. And I know that's what happened for me. I never really thought that ending up in retail that my criminal justice degree would come in handy, but it just kind of proves that no matter what you go to college for, it really ends up just working out and everything comes into play later in life. So when it comes to theft, the first thing I want to talk about is essentially some common characteristics of a lot of these theft incidents, because not only through my experience, but through research and loss prevention classes that I've taken from experts as well, there are always these similar characteristics that come up time and time again for these theft incidents. So number one, crazily enough, most times that thief is known as a regular to the store. It's Mary, who always comes into shop once a week with her girlfriends. It's so and so who's you're constantly picking out outfits for and calling her to come check it out. It's maybe one of your customers' grandchildren that's in town visiting and comes in to see the store. It's most of the times this thief is somebody that's a regular in the store. I hate to say it, but that's kind of a strategy on their part, is that they want to win over you or the employee through this friendship so that then you wouldn't suspect them. Um, from there, most thieves will also buy something at the same visit that they steal. So I've seen it on multiple occasions where you might be thinking, oh, I'm getting a great transaction. They're spending $400. Well, they walked out with $100 worth of stuff in their purse. And all of that buying and shopping and questioning and engaging with you or your employee, that's all just a tactic on their part to make you kind of ignore the, not even consider the fact that they could possibly be stealing something, because she's engaged. She's asking me about this. She loves it. Oh my gosh, how could she possibly steal? And then also from the perspective of the customer that's stealing, the thief, it kind of gives them a way to justify in their own brain of, well, I spent 400, so I can take a little something. But we all know you can't justify theft, right? But it's so keep an eye even on those people that you know, or the people that are buying a lot on one visit. I'm not saying like start profiling everybody and get all freaked out. These are all just things to kind of keep an eye for, especially at the holiday time. Um, if you do have someone who ends up being successful with a theft in your store, crazily enough, 9 out of 10 times, they will return to your store to try it again within 7 days. And I have tested this theory. I learned this from a big handbag and jewelry retailer that most people know. They have nationwide stores of their own, and I was carrying their products in my own store. And this was a fact that I learned from them very, very early on. And once I knew this, it was some days, almost exactly 7 days to the T, that thief was coming back in my store. So you have to be ready. We kind of had little code words that we would say when we saw a thief come back in, so that we would know how to react and what to do. Because in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, I would prosecute all theft. Every single theft was getting prosecuted. So you got to think about what you're going to do when they come back, because they will be back 9 out of 10 times within that 7-day window. Also keep an eye out for thieves wearing an item that they stole out of the store. They might have stolen a pair of earrings, and now here they are 6 days later wearing those earrings back to take something else. So if you have something stolen, make sure your entire team knows what that item is so that you guys are on the lookout for that, because I wouldn't be surprised if the thief wore the item right back in the store. And again, when it comes to who these thieves are, they're all ages. They're children, they're teens, they're adults, they're seniors. There is nobody that is not doing it. They are from every demographic, every background, every socioeconomic status. There's somebody there that's doing it. And again, this is not to freak you guys out to all of a sudden think, oh my God, my best regular customer, my sweet little Catholic schoolgirl that comes in every week to say hi and look around is stealing, because they're probably not. But this is just to make you guys aware of many of these common things to just kind of keep in the back of your head and be aware of when you're in your businesses, right? Um, Another thing that I see all the time, thieves are holding something in their hand, right? I don't have oh, here, I've got a Kleenex right here. They'll have like a tissue balled up in their hand, or maybe they're holding their phone and they're just kind of walking around the store with like a tissue in their hand. That's what I see almost all the time. Well, that's so that they can conceal an earring or a small piece of packaging in with that tissue, and you don't think about it, and then they put the tissue back in their purse, and now they've taken the piece of jewelry with them. So keep an eye out for when they have a lot of stuff in their hands, or even just one Kleenex for some odd reason. That's kind of a good giveaway. They also tend to wear hats or sunglasses if they are really coming in with the point of wanting to steal, because they know that they've got to shield themselves from the cameras. It makes it a lot harder when you have that camera system to get a good image of the person when they have like a wide brimmed sun hat on. Well, we live in Florida. Half our customers every day are coming in with wide brimmed sun hats, for goodness sake. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. Additionally, they may sometimes come in pairs. And then in that case, they tend to immediately almost like split up on the opposite sides of the store, and they are constantly asking you questions. They're wanting you to know, do you have these shoes in this size? Can you go in the back and check? Do you have more? Oh, can you have 6 of these? I want to give it to all of my girlfriends for Christmas. So before you know it, you're digging around a bin in the back. They're holding the Kleenex in their hand and concealing half your jewelry right in their purse as you're thinking you're getting a big transaction. So keeping an eye out for some of those distraction techniques that a thief may try to use to just get you away from the area of the stuff that they want to take is really important to remember. And then finally, they tend sometimes to spend a long time in the store, taking forever making their decision. They're looking at every rack, every little item that's on your table. They're touching it all, moving it all, questioning it all. It's like too involved, right? Because I mean, we all know that customer that comes in and like they love it and they're having a good time and you're engaging with them and it's like a genuine interaction. But this is like kind of too odd. So if your gut says something is weird here, something is weird here and you need to lean into that. Um, so in addition to kind of like all of those areas, like, now we're talking about some of those characteristics of the theft, but what can we do to prevent this? Okay. Because we know what to look for now, but we need to stop it as much as we can, at least. So number one, important, every business needs security cameras. Cafes, restaurants, commercial shipping operations, nail salons, retail stores. I don't care who you are, you need security cameras. It's for your safety, your employees' safety, and just keeping an eye on what's going on in your business. Additionally, when it comes to theft. So great security cameras, awesome. Start there. I also personally love for any store that has any sort of retail within it. A cafe with a retail corner, a hair salon with a retail corner, or traditional clothing stores, for example. We would want to have a hard tag security system. So these are those hard tags that go through the clothing with a pin, they snap on, and you need a really, really strong magnet to remove them. They have gotten very nice over the years, very subtle, very small. I was recently in an anthropology and they had my favorite little, they call them jewel locks. They're maybe less than an inch long, maybe kind of like about a half-inch long. And they just kind of have a little hook that goes right around the clasp on essentially any piece of jewelry. And they have tags with very fine little needles in them. So if you have very delicate fabrics, you can strategically place those so that you're not damaging garments and you're keeping it really subtle, right? So when I had my stores, it was kind of that better leaning towards upscale women's apparel. You don't want security tags everywhere, like, right? Like we don't want that look, but now it's all so much smaller that it can be very subtle, almost hardly noticeable at all, and that will immediately cut down on your theft. I always think it's hilarious. Like, so down here in Key West where I live, at one of the big beaches, Fort Sac, they have like a little shopping hut with like beach towels and snorkeling masks and stuff. And like, even at the beach hut, they have a hard tag security system because people come in and will just take stuff, unfortunately. So if the beach shop has it, we gotta have it. And from there, it's not just the hard tags. If you look on the right side of the slide, uh, these are what's called a soft tag security tag. They look like they have fake barcodes on them, and that's what you can put on trinket dishes, books, any hard surface. You can put these soft, flexible tags on, and then those are the ones that you just rub it back and forth on a magnetic pad to deactivate the sticker before the customer leaves. So there's more or less some sort of security tag for any type of product that you have within your store. The security guys, I will mention, it is one kind of part of retail that I feel like when you call these security tag companies, they are very hard to talk to. They are usually very dry salesmen. They don't understand retail as much. So if you are going to talk to somebody about hard tag security, give me a call first, call your SBDC, do a little research on your part because you're probably going to end your call with them feeling very confused and a little bit discouraged just because of the kind of business they're in. I mean, it's hard tag security. It's not that exciting. So we got to jazz it up and kind of really dig through and make sure that we find the solution for us and advocate for yourself so that you get this for your store if you feel that you need it. When it comes to our store layout and merchandising, we want to make sure we have no blind spots, essentially as much as we can. There always might be a little something, but we want to keep that layout open, breathable. Some of these store, like when I think of like the retail section in a Cracker Barrel, right? We all know Cracker Barrel. Everything's packed in. There's product everywhere, and I'm sure they have a lot of loss because of it. So if we kind of keep it a little more open, a little more airy, so that there are no like true blind corners where somebody can just go hide and like dump a bunch of stuff in their bag, that's going to also help prevent theft. Along those same lines too, we want to be aware of any time that we see empty packaging within the store, especially the little cards, the earrings are usually on, price tags to things. I had a rule, this kind of goes back to those policies and procedures for your employees, that if they ever found an empty package, they had to tell me immediately where they found it. And I would immediately go on the cameras, and you can kind of incrementally go back and see exactly when that packaging ended up on the floor. Sometimes it just fell off, a tag that fell off of an item. It happens. But many times I could easily trace back in just a matter of minutes to exactly who took that item. Because they'll, maybe just pop the earrings off of the card, or they'll leave the tag before they steal that item. So we want to be aware of that empty packaging. Along those same lines too, when every one of your employees starts their shift, I like to have it as a policy that at the very beginning of their shift, they need to go do a walk around the whole store. And this is just kind of seeing what's where, what's up, what's going on, especially if you have part-time people that maybe are only in on Monday and Tuesday, and then they're not back all the way until the next week, or maybe they're just Monday and Friday. Stuff's changing, right? We're constantly rearranging. If we're a big warehouse business, we're moving inventory, we're getting new things in. If you're retail, we're always remerchandising, keeping the store looking good. So I like to send my employees on a walk around the store just to kind of orient, arrive, see what is where. And many times you'll have these kind of like little mental notes where it's like, I knew there were 6 pairs of sunglasses on that display. And later at the end of the day, when they're wrapping up from their shift and reorganizing everything at the end of the day, they're like, wait, there's only 5 there. Where did that 6th one go? And then they can tell me, we hop on the security cameras, and we can usually find that it was taken and plan action on that. Someone has asked, what is a good point of sale system? I will answer that at the end. I'll circle back to that for you. Guys, go ahead and keep sending your questions into the Q&A. As they come up, we'll answer them all at the end, and then we will have like an open Q&A at the end where you have more time to submit questions too. Okay, let's see, where was I? So walk around the store, got to know what's where. From there, we also want to have good fitting room management. So if you have a traditional retail store where you have fitting rooms, we need to be on top of it. We want it clean between each customer. And I also like to kind of verbally say like, okay, Michelle, here you go. I've got you all set up with your 5 items. Let me know how it works. I'll be around. So that then both the customer and potential thief and you as yourself or the employee know, mental note, okay, we sent her in with 5 items. And then they know that, oh, I better not have any of these disappear because you're coming back as soon as that customer's done to go make sure that those 5 items are coming back out. If they didn't want to purchase anything, or if they have 2 in their hand to purchase, you know that you're going to have 3. So just kind of managing everything at the fitting room, because of course, you know, we all know of that like traditional way of theft where people are taking a bunch of stuff in the fitting room and their purse comes out a lot bigger than when it went in. Our customer database also ties back to our point of sale system, because usually they will all manage this, but keeping a nice, tight, and right customer database. This will serve you well in all aspects of your business, especially if you want to like hone in and talk marketing. It's all about having that customer database, but it also comes in really handy, believe it or not, for theft. Because you know, on the previous screen, we talked about sometimes these thieves being known customers. I can't tell you how many times someone has they made a purchase and stole something at the same time. Well, you'd be shocked. There they had their whole customer profile set up in our cash register, in our point of sale system. I knew their name, I knew their birthday, I knew where they lived. I maybe even made a note of like what their husband's name was because he was maybe there too. And it's all there. I mean, talk about shooting fish in a barrel. Like that makes it so easy when it comes to choosing to prosecute or at least knowing who's doing this stuff. So keeping up with that customer database and making sure you're always getting people's information will really come in handy down the road if you have theft. But of course, it'll, you know, serve you very, very well when it comes to marketing, promotions, all that good stuff. We also want to have a strong procedure for greeting and assisting customers every time. Without fail, you or your employee should be saying, hi, welcome, hi, how are you? Engaging someone as soon as they walk into your store. Welcome them. We want them to feel like they're coming home, that they're in a comfortable place, that we're excited that they're there. It also lets the thieves know, I'm watching you, I know you're here. So it's kind of working for us on both sides, right? It's great for just general customer service and that customer experience, but at the same time, it's letting the bad people, the thieves know, we know you're here. And then on top of it, maybe you give a genuine compliment. Hey, I love your blue top. That is so beautiful on you. Well, even from there, now that thief knows or hears, oh my God, she knows I'm here and she's connected like that I'm wearing blue. Because all that's going to do is make it harder for them to get away with an actual theft, right? When somebody steals, they want to be unknown. They want to be secretive about this. They don't want you knowing like that you're here and she has this cool hair or this pretty shirt or a beautiful necklace on. Like that's all too starting to become too like too specific, too detailed. So they'll probably get nervous and just leave because they can go somewhere else where the employee's just sitting behind the counter texting their friends where they know they don't even know who's in the store. They can get away with it a lot easier there. They don't need to waste their time with you. But at the same time, just like that customer database, having that greeting, assisting them as they're shopping in the store, that's all working for you on the customer service side of it too. And then we, of course, want to have a clear procedure for prosecuting theft. So you want to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as, are we prosecuting every time? Are we trespassing? Are we giving warnings? What's our procedure? And following that every single time. So when it comes to another area of loss comes into that topic of salesmanship and that customer experience. And we've already touched on it a little bit, But where I see stores having the most difficulty on this are employees not being comfortable. And with working with customers, they're really nervous, so they just maybe don't do it as much as they should. Or your employees don't know all of the details and selling points about the products in your store or in your business. So that makes them nervous. And then that lack of employee confidence leading to a lower transaction value. So this is not all about that customer service. Um, when it comes to like preventing the thieves from stealing, but just also when we might have loss when we just didn't make the most of that customer. They were there, they were engaged, they were ready to buy something, but maybe the employee you had on that day was just a little bit nervous, or she was new and maybe shouldn't have been by herself just yet. So the customer either left with nothing or they bought one item when maybe if a more experienced employee was there, they would have spent $400, right? So we want to make sure that we are getting the most out of every customer coming through the door. We want to train on that standard procedure for upselling, recommending coordinated items, encouraging them to buy more, but in a genuine way. This is not used car salesmanship here. We want our customers walking out the door with the right products for them. And along that same line is that old-fashioned customer service, clienteling, knowing your customers. That all of this is going to benefit you on both knowing what's going on when it comes to theft and loss prevention, but providing that beautiful customer service experience. We all know what it's like to have those experiences versus you just walk into a big box store and have to fend for yourself. It's not fun. So we like that old-fashioned customer service, somebody greeting you, saying, "Hey, nice to see you again. Oh, I just got this in. I think you might like it." We want to have a robust training process for those new hires so that they are up to date and confident on all of the products that you sell within your business. And then we want to keep following up with them on regular trainings so that that confidence stays at a high. You can't just blast a ton of knowledge into them when they first start and a year down the road expect them to still be perfect. You might get one angel that would be, but having regular trainings like kind of just keeps them excited, keeps them engaged. You're spending a lot of time either designing and sourcing your own products, going to market, purchasing your products, whatever it may be. A lot of thought's gone into this. This is your store, this is your baby. So we want to keep our employees engaged and excited about what we're doing and about what we're selling. They should be excited to build that sale and have fun with your clients just as if you would. We're sharing almost every product has a story nowadays and like a little elevator pitch. So we want to keep everybody up to date on what's going on. And then finally, so that they can get uh, to what I call the 6 steps to the perfect purchase. So what does that mean? Okay. We have essentially that perfect purchase, your customer that is leaving with everything that they want, didn't know they want, and they're happy, right? So where does that start? Step 1, we're greeting and establishing a nice relationship with them right away from when they walk in the door. That's that, "Hi, hello, nice to see you." Then we're going right into both kind of questioning and listening. And some of this can just be through small talk as they're browsing around. Maybe we find out that they're going on a cruise. Okay, let's listen. Where's their cruise going? Okay, let me think. What can I show them that they can't leave without for their cruise? So that becomes that kind of show and tell. If they're looking for a new outfit, don't just let them get the outfit. We all know that to make it look right, you need the jewelry, you need the shoes, you maybe need a new handbag to pull the whole look together. So that's that show and tell phase. And then finally closing the sale and actually getting the customer from that in the fitting room, like, love it, gotta have it, physically getting them to the register, pulling out their credit card, and ready to make the purchase. And then at that last minute, what can we add on? So are they buying a new pair of sunglasses and we've already got them the glasses in the case, but maybe they need a little bit of glasses cleaner and a wiping cloth. That's getting them to that perfect purchase because we don't want them to have to take their brand new sunglasses and rub it on the bottom of their shirt to try and get it clean. We'd be doing them a disservice. So we need to make sure they have the glasses, the case, the cleaning cloth, and the spray. That's the perfect purchase. And we knew that they needed all of that because we listened that they were going on a cruise and that they've had trouble with the sunglasses they've had so far, or they just broke, or their dog bit them, or whatever happened. And then finally, once we've gotten through all of those steps, we're thanking them genuinely, letting them know we're excited to see them again, and maybe reaching out to them in the future to see how was the trip? Is your new handbag working out for you? Did you love the sunglasses? And then we're doing it all over. So these are those 6 steps that need to go into every single transaction and customer interaction that you are having within your business. Finally, when it comes to loss, this is what I would call like the loss of physical money in a sense. It would be your cash drawer not balancing at the end of the day, or product being sold at a discount too frequently. I like to have retail businesses move towards a semi-annual sale model. We want sales to be special, a special treat. We all know you walk into Hobby Lobby right now, all the Christmas is half off. It was never full price. Nobody's excited about that sale. It just always is. You are a special, independent, lovely business of any type. We don't need to be having a perpetual sale all the time. Let's have it be a special treat, semi-annual sale. That way you're making full dollar on every item that's going out the door, because we all know that if you sell an item at half off, you probably aren't making much, if anything, on that item. And we just kind of did it for fun that day. So we want to sell as much as we can at full price. Customers need to know that they need to buy it now because it probably won't make it to the semi-annual sale. And then you just have this big sale. It's a treat. It's fun. It's a party. We blow everything out of there. And then we start fresh next season. We want to be sure to train our new hires on proper cash drawer management. Nowadays, you really have to refresh people on how to actually count money and count a drawer. So really kind of simplify it, bring it back to the basics, and go over that with all of your employees. We want to make sure that we are balancing that cash drawer at the shift change. We talked about that earlier, so I won't go into that. And then finally, this sounds little, but it's actually big. Having a procedure and policy within your store for verbally counting change back to your customer. Can't tell you how many times maybe their total was $5.95. They pay with a 10, but they thought they paid with a 20. So when they hand over the money, the policy needs to be, okay, your total's $5.95. Okay, out of 10, and then physically counting back that change to the customer so that it's like being verbally said on multiple occasions exactly how much they handed you, so that they're not saying, no, 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 you actually gave me a 20, and then before you know it, your employee is like getting steamrolled by this person and giving them more change, and then your drawer is short at the end of the day. So really kind of watching little details there. And really, guys, we went very quick. That kind of wraps up the topic of our loss prevention and the way just kind of a very quick overview on all these ways that money can kind of seep out of your business. I'd love to talk with all of you guys more about it if you'd like to sign up for consulting. But now we'll go ahead and get to any questions. So it looks like I have one here, but if you guys have any more questions, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A, not the chat, but the Q&A. So our first question is, what is a good point of sale system that you recommend? Thank you. I personally, I don't know what type of business you have, but Lightspeed is a great one. Very kind of generally accepted. They have all of the reporting features, a time clock where your employees can actually clock in and clock out right at the cash register. It'll have your customer management system where you can keep track of all your customer data. Yeah, for retail beauty supplies. Yeah, I think Lightspeed would be a great place to start. Shopify has one as well. And I do believe, I'd have to double check, but I do believe Shopify or that Lightspeed will play well with Shopify. Like if you have Shopify for your website, I would say if any of you already have a retail website, we would want our point of sale to play well with that. So that then when you're in your back office, not your physical back office, but your digital back office, the one that's on your computer, when you're setting up new products, organizing everything, getting all that ready to go so that it looks good on the cash register, we want all of that to play well with your e-commerce site so that if you sell two on your website, it's pulling two out of your in-store inventory, or vice versa. If you sell your last blue blouse in the store, it's going to remove that one from your website automatically so that you don't oversell. Because that even there is kind of another way of loss, because now you have an unhappy customer, you have to refund them because you've oversold an item when maybe they would have just picked a different color if that blue one wasn't even there because it was sold out. So we want to make sure that our in-store point of sale drives well with our e-commerce website. Or even if you don't have an e-commerce website just yet because you're new, then sorry, I read the question, it threw me off for a second. If you don't have e-commerce yet because you're new, mentally kind of plan what you're going to get and then make sure that your point of sale is going to work well with that. And then going from there, our next question is, what is a good website builder? Shopify is kind of like the gold standard these days that everyone is going with when it comes to websites and getting everything organized there for your sales. I'll go ahead and show you guys kind of our next screen. This is a great way just to get in touch with us at the SBDC. Again, we have all of our live webinars like this. Everything is also recorded and put on our YouTube channel. You can reach me directly and I can help you get set up for consulting with us, with any of our great consultants. And finally, you can even scan right here with your phone for the QR code, which will take you directly to a link where you just fill out a couple questions and we will get you working with a consultant before you know it. Thank you guys so much for attending tonight. Fourth quarter, I appreciate you taking the time in November. I always feel like if I'm not armed with wrapping paper and tape, like nobody wants to see me when it comes to retail in November and December, but you guys are here because you want to do better for yourselves and better for your businesses. And as you can see, there's so many ways beyond just traditional theft that money can really trickle out from your business. And we'd all love at the SBDC to help you work through that on a one-on-one basis where we can really deep dive into some of the things that you may be struggling with. And again, just to remind you guys, all of our consulting is completely no cost to you. So we're funded by grants from the SBA, for us from the College of Business at FIU. So we get to go out and just help you guys improve and feel better about your businesses and grow and soar and do great. And you don't have to worry about another bill just to try to do something better for your business. So reach out to us. We're here to help. We have consultants in all areas of expertise, and I'd love to hopefully meet some of you on a Zoom one-on-one sometime. So thank you guys again for joining, and we will go ahead and wrap it up for the night. Thank you. Okay. Should we go ahead and end it, Alexis?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Great job.
All right. Thank you for your help. I'm going to go ahead and leave the Zoom. Bye, everybody.
Bye.